Hello, this is a video about how to practice rhythm. In order to play along this video, you are going to need your instrument and also your essential elements book. The goal of this video is for you to be able to understand everything on page 42 and 43. We probably have played a lot of these lines in our lessons or in our daily classes, but I just want to make sure that you are able to go through all of them in one sitting and be able to play all of them. For this video, I'm going to be using the notes D, but make sure that you don't limit yourself only to this note. You can use E flat, F, G, or any other note. The reason I'm picking D, you might know it, is that D is so easy to hold the instrument when you're playing D, so that would at least take your mind off the trouble of holding the flute in your hand. Okay, wonderful. We are going to start from the first line. If you're an advanced student and you already know the first page, you're welcome to skip ahead and come back to our video maybe once around the time that we get to measure 37 or the second page. All right, I'm just going to play through each line and you are welcome to pause the video and play through it, or go through the line on a higher speed if you don't like that slow speed that I'm going to be picking. This is a metronome marking 65, and this is the first line of rhythm studies on page 42. On a note D. 1, 2, As you can see, we only have quarter notes on this line. We have quarter notes and quarter rests, just like measure 2 and 3 and 4. You can see the rests. Make sure that you are tapping your foot, and in the next line and the lines to come, I'm going to be starting to use vibrato. That's a good idea to also practice vibrato when we are doing rhythm. This is the second line. In this line, we have half notes added. As you remember, half notes are 2 beats. So make sure that you are holding those notes enough. This is metronome marking 65. So if you listen to this and it's too easy for you, go ahead, turn on your metronome on a higher number and practice along. 2. For the next line, I'm going to be pulsating my vibrato on 8th notes. This is measure 9 to 12, or the third line of page 42. 1, 2, ready, go. Great. This is going to be measure 13 to 16 on metronome marking 65. I'm not going to be using vibrato because my focus is going to be tonguing each note clearly, because now we have 8 notes. In the next line, you have a lot of 8 notes, but we don't have any rests anymore, right? So make sure that you notice that we only have quarter notes and 8th notes. All right, this is measure 17 to 20. You can play along with me, or you can pause the video, put your metronome on a higher speed, and play with yourself. Measure 17 to 20. right. In the next line, which is measure 21 to 24, we have the quarter notes back. So make sure that you are giving them some time. They are going to take a full beat, which is our foot going down and coming back up. 21 to 24. 1, 2, ready, go. Measures 25 to 28 have half notes in them. So watch out for those. Those are 2 full beats long. All right. So if you look at measure 27, in the second half of the measure, you have a new rest that you might not have seen yet on this page. That is a half note rest. Just like a half note, when we play it for 2 beats, if we have a half note rest, we need to hold that rest for 2 beats as well. 25 to 28. All right. In measures 29 to 32, we do have a dotted half note. Make sure that you know dotted half notes are 3 beat long, right? So half notes, and if we add half of the note to our note, because of the dot, we are going to end up with 3 beats. 29 to 32. 1, 2, ready, on the lines that you have longer notes, you might be able to pulsate 8 notes or triplet notes in order to practice your vibrato as well. So if I'm going to play 29 to 32 one more time, I'm going to include the vibrato pulsations on 8th notes. This is 29 to 32 with 8th note vibrato pulsations. The next line on the bottom of the page 42, we have combination of anything that we have had so far. We have rests, we have dotted half notes, 8 notes, quarter notes, and whole note. One whole note at the end, which is going to be 4 beat long. This is the last line of page 42. Just a reminder, you can pause the video and do these much faster if you would like to. Going on to page 43, measures 37 to 40, we have a lot of 8th notes. These lines in page 43 are a really good resource to practice our articulation as well. So if we go much faster, we can practice our tonguing. Just like that. All right, this is line, the first line of page 43, measures 37 to 40. Two, ready? Go ahead and pause the video and play it one more time in a higher speed. All right. The second line of page 43 are measures 41 to 44. If you look at measure 42, you see that we have 1/8 note, and then immediately afterward we have an 8th note rest. So if we have 1/8 note added to another 8th note, we have a full beat. So if I want to play measure 42, it ends up being it sounds as if I'm playing quarter notes, but they are shorter because the second half of each beat is empty. This is line number 2 on page 43, measures 41 to 44. 2, ready? If you can play this very easily at this speed, go ahead, increase the number of metronome. This was 70, you can go maybe 100 and try it again. All right, the next line is going to be one of the trickiest line of these 2 pages. In this line, for example, measure 46, we see that the first half of our beat is empty, and coming back up, we need to articulate and play the note. All right, so instead of playing the note exactly with the click, our note is going to be played on the upbeat. That's the term for it, upbeat. All right, so we have a lot of these syncopated upbeats, and we have to make sure that we are playing this correctly. In this case, I'm going to go measure by measure and make sure that I get you guys to repeat right after me. This is measure 45. One, two, ready, go. This is measure 46. Ready? So for measure 46, you have to tap your foot, and coming up, you play the note. Measure 47, the first half of the measure is full of 8th notes. The second half, we don't have 2 of those 8th notes anymore. This is 47. Through, ready, go. And the last measure of this line is measure 48, which is going to be two, ready, go. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Wonderful. Now, the 4th line of this page is a combination of the past couple of lines. All right, so make sure that you are paying a lot of attention on your downbeats, if they are actually a note or they're going to be a rest. So this is 49 to 52. You can rewind the video so you listen to the measures again and again. This is 49 to 52. All right, the next line, we have dotted quarter notes added to our mix. Dotted quarter note, as you know, is how many beats? A lot of you might be shouting out the answer. Dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. So it means that our foot goes down, comes back up, goes down and again. And coming back, if you look at measure 53, you do have that 8th note that fills in that gap. This is 53 to 56. Play along with me. 2, ready, go. All right. Measures 57 to 60. Here our time signature has changed. So we have 3 quarter notes per measure. All right. Measure 57 to 60. Ready? All right. Measure 61 to 64. Pay attention to all the rests that you have, all the 8 notes, and repeat this with me. 61 to 64. Alright, the time signature for the next line is going to be a 2/4 time signature. That means we have 2 quarter notes per measure. This is 65 to 68. If you need to listen to any of these lines twice, make sure that you go back and listen a few times to them. Alright, some of them are pretty tricky. 65 to 68. 1, 2. And if you can't play any of these lines perfectly with the metronome 70, make sure that you're increasing the number of metronome. And this is our last line, 69 to 72. Make sure you pay attention to the difference between measure 69 and measure 70. In measure 69, we have those 8 notes in our downbeats, so they need to be heard with the click. But in measure 70, they are on an upbeat. Alright, so once we tap our foot, coming back up, we play those notes. So this is measure 69 by itself. And this is measure 70 by itself. They are slightly different. So 69 to 72, all of it together. 2, ready? Alright, if you're watching these videos on YouTube, you can also use the option to listen to them a little bit slower, or even put them on twice as fast option, so you can play along much faster with me. Alright, if you have any question, let your band director know, or you can email me directly. Hope you have a good day.